Hey ladies and gentlemen, welcome to episode 2 of season 2 of the Duck Chronicles, but those are not ducks. What do we got there? You got little quails, little brown quails. The little white ones, those are not the Texas A&M variety. Those are actually just, every once in a while, brown quail spit out white quail. And there's a little over 100 of them in there. There's 130 odd of them in there. And they may not look like that many. That's because most of them are over here in the sun. Right there, a whole bunch of them. They don't take up much space. You can see what I've done. I took this old chicken tractor and I modified it so the top is completely covered, because these guys will be flying in no time. They're about 6 days old right now, and it's all done. Was always done with hardware cloth, but I put hardware cloth on the top, and it might be a little hard to see, but I put hardware cloth on the bottom, and then this frame just sits here, and that can. Excuse the camera work, it's a little difficult to do one-handed. You can kind of see there the floor. Little guy there drinking. And quail are new for me, so you may want to hold off on emulating anything I'm doing with quail, but we have some really cool stuff coming. I'm working with some pros in caging and quail to come out with some things for you guys in urban environments, and I'm going to be doing some stuff here on a larger scale with quail I think will blow you away. I just wanted to kind of show you how things are set up. That tarp right there at night covers 3/4 of the coop down to the ground on all three sides. It's an 8x10, plenty big enough to do what I need to do with it. And then right there's a heat light. I bring that tarp to about right here, and I angle that back in there. And when you come out here at night, they are just scattered instead of clustered. They're scattered in there, pretty happy. And the other little different thing with ducks, you can see the feed there. We actually grind that up a little bit in the coffee grinder for a couple seconds for them when they're this small so that they can eat it. Otherwise, they go kicking everything out of there looking for the smaller crumbs. So there's the quail. The reason we started with the quail today is just because of the flow, because I'm going to show you a couple things today. One was quail, the other is the ducks, most of them anyway. And we're going to get a first look at the pond and maybe even some catfish eating. We'll see if they'll want to come up and eat. They usually, hold on, I got a big old Texas sand spur in my foot. All right, so as I said, these guys were going to spend as little time in the brooder as possible. They're already out and about. Here they come. And they're exploring. And so these guys are 4 days old right now, 5 days old right now. 4 days. 4 days. I've had them for, this is my second day having them. They took 3 days in shipment. And the reality is that puts them about a day behind where they should be, because they lost the day of being fed and watered. So I was iffy on putting them out here, but this morning everybody was very, very mobile, and that's my biggest consideration with getting them out on the grass is how mobile are they? Can they move? If they decide it's too hot, can they make it over there to that shadow? And the answer is absolutely yes. And of course, we're still learning here. We don't have a mom duck to teach us. So I'll come out several times a day today, and I'll move them, because you can see when I walk up on them, they move. And I'll push them to feed. I'll push them over to their water. I did that first thing this morning after I got them all in here, and nobody knew where the water was. Nobody could work it out, even though it looks just like it did in the brooder. I pushed them over there. As soon as one head went in there, it was a melee. Boom, everybody was on it. Everybody got a good drink today. See, as soon as they get knocked over to their feeder, they start eating. So I'll just come out and I'll move them the way a mother would, taking them between food and water. And after about a day of that, they'll do it for themselves. Tonight we'll set up heat lamps underneath there. If they're smart enough to move under there, we'll leave them out. If they look like they're going to huddle up over here in the corner, we may bring them in. We may not, though, because it's going to be in the 70s tonight. And everybody wants to keep a duck at 100 degrees, but our work with our ducks have shown us that they don't really need to be at 100 degrees. So as long as it doesn't look like they're cold, we'll leave them out for the night. We'll check on them. If it looks like anything's going wrong, we'll keep the brooder set up. We'll just come out here with a bucket. We'll bring everybody inside. But we're going to do everything we can to maximize the time out here. I'd actually rather bring them out every morning and in every night if I had to. The less time they spend in that brooder, think of a brooder like a hospital. It serves a purpose, and when you need to be there, you need to be there. But if you don't need to be there and you're there, you actually up your risk of disease and problems. That's kind of how I see brooders. And now, don't think you can just do this. We know our land, we know how ducks behave on our land, and chickens we might have to keep in for a couple more days. you know, it all depends. And like the quail over there, yeah, they're outside, but that thing, when I set that up at night, that's almost just like a brooder, except it's much bigger and there's a lot better airflow in it. So I'm not saying just to dump your brooder idea. And as you can see, we did put them in there for a day to get that mobility up. And when you put a bird out, you got to determine, like, does it understand the move? And these guys do, so we're gonna, you know, we're gonna keep working with them and teaching them. But they're out eating grass and chasing bugs already. If they would have arrived on time, you know, they'd be a day younger, but they'd have they'd probably be in better vigor right now. So I think everybody's gonna be great. Everybody's eating, and we look forward to a really great season going into fall this time. So these guys will be a little bit bigger than the other ones were when they ran into ice storms from season 1. So that's it for ducks today. I guess I'll show you real quick. Everybody's up front. We're giving this back pasture some time to recover. They worked it pretty hard this summer. A lot of this summer was so hot, we actually gave them both the front and back pasture for about a month, just so they had maximum access to shade, because it was brutal. And a lot of them really like to go under the deck there. But they've worn down this area. This is an area I want to talk to you about real quick before I show you the pond. So we've got that willow tree right there. And it's planted in what we call a natural well. That's a place where there was a tree, it got down in the rock. You can dig a hole 4 foot deep under that tree, where the tree roots, using what's called humic acid, basically ate through that highly alkaline rock over the years, and now that tree can take advantage of that pathway. And as you can see, Dorothy dumps a couple pools in there every day, and that willow will take all the fertility and all the water you can give it. That willow would grow in a couple inches deep in a lake. So it is a perfect tree for that application, and it's in a place where it would have a very hard time growing if that wasn't going on. So we're function stacking. We have to provide the ducks water, and the tree needs water, and the tree needs fertility. And that willow, you know, if you look at it, and it almost died when we went away, and my nephew was in charge for about 5 days and gave that tree no water, and it looked dead. And we brought it back, and it's grown a lot since it came back. That thing was going to just take off next year. Those things grow fast as it is, but with all this fertility. Now we have another little depression right here. That's another place where the old homeowner removed a tree. We're going to plant a tree there. Boom, another willow. And there might be one more spot. And then right there, we're going to put in a tank. A tank kind of shaped like these blocks here that these pools are sitting on. But it's going to be lifted up in the air enough that they're going to sit on a grate. And every day when we dump it, the water's going to go down into that grate. And running from that tank underground will be a 2-inch pipe that runs to that tree. There'll be another 2-inch pipe that runs to this tree. And if we find a third place and put a third one in, there'll be 3. And all we'll have to do is change which valve we open. And when we dump all that nasty water that we have to keep from them overnight into that drain system, each day it'll go to one of 2 trees or one of 3 trees. We just change it each day. And that means there'll be no energy involved. It'll just go down grade. So that's going to be pretty cool. Real quick, let's go down and take a look at the pond, because I know a lot of you guys are excited about that. And what I'm actually going to do, though, I'm going to stop the camera. And we'll do episodes 2 and 3 today, because we're getting up on 10 minutes, and that's where it gets a little bit choppy with uploading to YouTube.